I know it's a super nerdy topic, but I love talking about my socks. What kind of socks should you wear when you run? How should you think about them? What to try, what not to try? It's a whole open category of things for you to kind of experiment with. Hi, it's me, if you still remember who I am. Man, it has been a long time since I've uploaded anything. Training has been full bore, work has been full bore, family has been full bore. So there's been a lot going on, and it's been really hard to find time to not only film, but to edit. So, sorry for the long delay here, but we're back. Speaking of training, it's been going really well. I've been getting a lot of miles in, a lot of time on the feet. Everything is going super great. Cowboy is now 6 weeks away, which means it's time to start changing some things in my day-to-day to prepare for that race. Things like trying to lose a little bit more weight, help my joints feel good. We'll stop that about a week or so before the race. Let myself kind of bulk up a little bit, have some weight to lose during the race, and that's been going super well so far. Also, you notice I came in with water and not with coffee today. If you have ever at all been around folks who use Mother Nature's most precious green gold, then you know about something called a tolerance break. And I am currently trying to dial back my caffeine intake so that when I get to Cowboy, the caffeine that I do ingest actually impacts me a lot more. So I'm cutting down on how much coffee and caffeine I'm drinking. That's why I'm at water before 10 a.m. today. Starting to get a crew around, starting to get logistics around, a lot more to come on that. But for now, all you need to know is we're 6 weeks out. I'm starting to feel ready. I'm nervous as hell, scared, but we're gonna get out there and do it anyway. Today, we're trying a little bit of a new method of filming. I've got a timer set for myself. I'm gonna talk for a limited amount of time, so I don't have hours and hours of footage to edit, because that's super intimidating, and if I get intimidated by that task, I'm never gonna do it, and you'll never get another video. So, today we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about socks. It seems like such a silly thing to think about, right? Especially because I've talked so much about shoes and where I've come from on that front. But the next thing in that logical chain are your socks. So what kind of socks should you wear when you run? Well, go to a running store and start looking around, and you'll see a whole wall full of different kinds of socks. And they're a little bit expensive, right? Anywhere between $12 and sometimes $50+ a pair, depending on, are you looking at compression socks? How long are they? And some of those compression socks can go up to $100 a pair. So what are they for? When should you use what pair? How should you think about them? What to try, what not to try? It's a whole open category of things for you to kind of experiment with that are a little bit less expensive than shoes, but have a huge impact on how your feet feel in the midst of a run. So most people, when they start out running, probably just use the regular old cotton socks that they wear day in and day out. And maybe yours have a little bit of spandex in them to stretch to your feet. Maybe they're a little bit different material, but the basic thing to know is the socks that you wear every day to and from your work, your play, your school, those are not the kind of socks that you should be running in, generally speaking. You can wear running socks every day, but that gets really expensive to have a whole drawer full of running socks. And most likely, if you're just starting running, you don't have that at your disposal. So you need to go to a running store, and you need to look at a few different things when thinking about running specific socks. So the first ones that I ever started out with, and this is not the first pair I ever bought, but this pair I don't think I could even tell you how old they are at this point. It's a pair of Swiftwick socks. These are just straight up standard normal Swiftwicks. There's nothing special about them in terms of the Swiftwick line. But they are a specialized running sock, right? So the material is different. I don't remember what exactly these are. Again, I've had them for so long. I don't remember what model or type, or even if they make them anymore, to be perfectly honest. As you look at the sock, you can kind of notice there is some compression here in the middle. And that's super, super helpful to me in keeping my foot stable, helps me feel supported, it keeps that arch up. The other thing to know is that with this type of material, the intention is to reduce the amount of risk you have of getting blisters. It's not specifically to reduce blisters, although that's the effect. It's to reduce the risk of getting blisters. So if your shoes fit properly, you have these kinds of socks on, you're not overextending too bad, then you should see a reduction in the number of blisters that you get. The heel on these, you'll notice, is formed into the sock. There is no heel pocket, or at least a very small heel pocket. You'll see kind of as I get through some of these other socks that the heel pocket has changed pretty dramatically over the last several years. These were excellent. I would strongly recommend, if you're just getting started, step into a pair like this. They're very thin, they're very lightweight, useful for short distances, like anything less than a 10K. I would say these are gonna be just fine. They're very stretchy. They do a great job of introducing you to running in a running specific sock. From those kinds of socks, I started sort of experimenting with various other similar kinds of socks. This particular pair is from Feetures, and you'll see a few things right off the bat that look both similar and that look different about these from the Swiftwick. So the first thing you'll see that you notice that's similar is this material is very, very similar. It's a little bit thicker, but again, it's that slippery kind of spandexy nylon type material that is designed to help reduce blisters. And that's going to be common across most of the socks that I'm going to show you today. There's one pair in particular that I think you should avoid at all costs, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this material is still going to help reduce the risk that you're going to get blisters. All those same carve-outs and caveats apply, but this material is going to be really good for helping with that. You'll see with this pair, the compression is still there, but on the bottom of this sock is a particular curved section. It's probably hard to see because these are pretty well worn, but this sock in particular is right-left specific. That Swiftwick sock I showed you is not. That sock could go on either foot. These Feetures socks, and that's spelled Feetures, is right and left specific. So you're gonna see features on these socks, no pun intended, that mean it needs to go on the right foot, and the left foot is gonna have the same thing to it. It's compression specifically designed for one side of your foot or the other. The other thing you'll notice about these socks are these kind of tabs here, and these are to prevent additional rubbing from the tongue of your shoe on the front of the foot and the heel cup of the shoe on the back. Now, a lot of shoes, those areas are fairly rigid to maintain the shape and structure of the shoe, and some, like the Altra Olympus 5, have an extremely tall heel cup in the back so that they can get pulled on very quickly. These just help reduce how much rubbing happens at those points. Again, reducing blisters, reducing chafing, making it easier and more comfortable to run in them for longer distances. These socks, these are pretty well beaten up. I've had them for probably 4 or 5 years now. I would trust these if you're buying a brand new pair. I would trust them up to a marathon. These are going to be really comfy for you. There's a little bit more cushion to them than the Swiftwicks, but it's not so much that you're going to feel like you're slipping around or you don't have that ground feel that you might prefer when you're running. Along with those, now My style at the time was go buy like 5 different pairs of socks at the running store and just try them and see what you like, what you don't like. These features I actually really like for speed work. So I don't wear them for long distances, but I do wear them when I have a hill workout or when I have a hard interval workout. I love going to those features because of that extra cushion on top of the Swiftwicks and that blister reduction. Super, super good for that, for me. At the same time I bought those features, I bought these Balega mohair socks. Now, what in the hell is mohair? It's like a combination between merino wool and some synthetic fibers. It's a specific kind of natural fiber that does an excellent job of wicking away sweat, of preventing stinky, smelly socks, and temperature regulation. One of the biggest benefits of merino wool, and again, I'll talk about some merino wool socks I have later, is that it does an excellent job at stench prevention and temperature regulation, both in hot and in cold. I don't know what it is about the merino wool. Someone with fibers and materials background could tell you a whole lot more about it. All I know is that between merino wool and mohair, these are some of the most comfortable, longest lasting socks I have ever worn. And I love wearing these in the winter. You notice they don't look that much thicker than the features I just showed you. They actually are a little bit thicker, so there's more cushion, and the natural fibers are a little bit more hefty in terms of how they feel on the foot. Again, this is not a right-left specific pair, so there's nothing that's going to keep you from wearing this on your right foot or your left foot. There's still compression across the top of the foot and across the bottom of the foot for additional support. This pair does not have the tongue rash protector, but it does have the heel cup protector on them. These are great up to a marathon as well. I don't think I would wear them in an ultra unless I knew I was going to need something quick for a particular section. They just don't quite have enough cushion to where I would wear them for a 50 or 100 miler. After I kind of fiddled around with a bunch of different styles of these kinds of socks where your toes are all grouped together in one little area in the sock, I made an attempt, because this was starting to become popular at the time, at Injinji socks and toe socks in particular. I am admittedly a convert. I love my toe socks. All of the socks that I wear for the most part right now are toe socks. These pairs I wear occasionally, but never for more than an hour at a time. I will always reach for my toe socks before I reach for those. So this is the very first pair of Injinji socks that I ever got. You'll see again, these are right-left specific. They have to be because they're toe socks and your right foot doesn't look like your left foot. Big surprise there. They still have the compression around the middle of the foot, on top of the foot. But what I really like about the toe aspect of these socks are a couple of things. It allows the toes to spread out a little bit more, and particularly when you're running in a shoe that has that wide toe box that allows your foot to splay and that natural foot shape. These socks encourage your foot to do even more of that. So if you're looking at running in ultras, or if you're running in topos, or if you're running in a barefoot shoe that has that wide toe box, these toe socks are going to be one of the best options you can find for socks that take the most advantage of that natural foot shaped shoe. So if you're not running in them, really recommend going out and trying a pair of these. These are a road sock from Injinji. They're a little bit taller, and they do an excellent job of preventing blisters. That's the other aspect of the toe socks that I really like. I tend to cross my big toe over my second toe as I'm running, especially if I'm running anything quickly. These socks do a great job of preventing blisters in those circumstances. What I'll call out on this pair of socks that you'll see in other Injinji socks later is the heel cup. And it's hard to see because again, this pair is pretty beaten up. There's a little bit of a pocket here that they have created for the heel. It's that little extra bit of fabric that they've sewn in that makes more room for the heel than you see in either the Balegas or on the Features, and especially on the Swiftwicks. So from those Injinjis, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try a whole bunch of other toe socks to see, they're not the only ones in the game. There are a bunch of other brands that also do toe socks. Exoskin is one of them. There's a whole bunch of them on Amazon, but I went ahead and got some additional Exoskin toe socks. This is another pair that I got. The compression isn't quite as heavy around the foot. The heel cup is not quite as pronounced. It's still there, but not quite as pronounced. It still has that nice heel cup protector. And then again, you've got the toes, right, left specific. Very nice socks. These are a little bit more expensive than the Injinjis. They don't work as well for me. They're more of that Swiftwick style material where it's mostly spandex and nylon, not really a whole lot of cotton or wool, and I prefer something a little bit thicker for my foot. The pair that I think I would avoid if I were you is almost any of the generics on Amazon. All right, these are AO Magic. I got them as a tester. They're fine. If you're trying to get into toe socks and you're not going to be doing any speed workouts in them and trying to get used to them and running for less than an hour, maybe give these a try because they are so cheap. They're not expensive. But these are like a basic cotton sock for the most part. This is all cotton up here. There's a little bit of compression and elastic through the bridge of the foot, but all of that material is still cotton. The only real spandex that you get is up here around the cuff, which doesn't make any sense because it doesn't actually do any good for you up there. You really need it down here in the part of the sock that goes in the shoe to prevent blisters. This is going to cause problems, and I have worn these about twice. They look terrible for only having been worn twice, and I don't think I will ever wear them again. I really just kept them as a way to show you other alternatives that exist. If you want to try them, at a very low price point, these might be worth a look, and if you like them after 2 runs, throw them away and buy a pair of nice toe socks from Injinji, from Exoskins, from any of the other brands that are recognizable that do toe socks. So what am I running in today? Well, for the most part, it's all Injinji. Like I mentioned, I reach for my Injinji toe socks, and specifically the Ultra Cushion Crew type sock, every time. That's my very first option. You can see they've updated the design. These are a little bit softer material. There's some wool woven into these, the merino wool specifically, so they don't stink super bad. There's compression throughout the bottom and the top of the foot. These are a little bit taller. They're a quarter length because I tend to kick myself as I get tired. Same toe sock design, but with the updated heel cup, I think you can see there's a lot more room in that heel cup now, and these fit a whole lot better as a result. So I love my quarters, and I start Ultras in the quarter size. I have a number of pairs as well. These are the same exact sock, just in a different length. These are the crew length sock, and the more tired I get, the more I tend to kick myself. Yeah, this pair doesn't show it, which is good, but you can see in some of my other pairs where I've kicked myself as I get tired, and I do tend to wear down the side of the sock where my shoe makes contact. But these are an excellent pair of socks. I think the Injinji ones run for the crew length anywhere north of $20, but less than $30. 100% worth the money. 100%. These are the most comfortable socks I have ever run in. If you've ever run an Ultra and changed into a pair of them in the middle, oh my gosh, it's world changing to put on a nice fresh pair of socks and shoes in the middle. And these are super high quality. So that's what I'm running in. I know it's a super nerdy topic, but I love talking about my socks. What are you running in? What socks are you wearing? What are you finding most comfortable? What works? What doesn't work? Where do you find hot spots? Where are you getting blisters? Let's have a conversation. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you find this content useful, send it to your friends, send it to your enemies. I'm not that picky. Until next time, I'm out.